Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. And we have a lot to talk about today. First off, Time Spiral Remastered has been revealed. That information is starting to impact card prices. New commander builds are still very popular based off what we saw from Kjell. Reserve list cards are still real popular. Don't worry about that. There'll be some of those in the video today as well. And a lot more is happening. We'll get into all the details in just a second. Quickly though, before we do that, just a fast reminder, if you go over to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Time Spiral Remastered there. They also have a whole assortment of Strixhaven products, including the Commander decks. They even have the new Challenger decks there, among many other things on the website. Remember, whenever your order is over $100, or if it consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And whenever you use the promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin with the standard legal spotlight. This is where we look at the cards that are standard legal that are moving the most this week. This week, much like last week, I did have to set a threshold when it comes to cards in the video. That threshold again is $3, so we're not going to talk about anything that's not moving at least $3 up or down today. Grim Tutor from Starter $19.99 just squeaked in, going down $3 to $119.99. And of course, this card has been soft ever since the reprinting in Core Set 2021. It has seemed to settle down to this price point, though. It is sticking close to that $120 mark. It does get a good amount of commander play being a tutor. And that's going to take us pretty quickly to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. First, we have Hellkite Tyrant down $4.37 to $32.95. This is the one from Commander 2016, and it is retracting after some recent spikes. This has been a great commander card. It's seeing additional play now and builds around new Kjell cards, although nothing is pushing it more than Magda Brazen Outlaw. Now let's look at some cards going up in value. Archangel Thune from Iconic Masters goes up $3.15 to $19.03. Sometimes this is in Modern Heliod Company, which is in a better position in this new Modern meta now that those changes occurred last month. Also, this is a highly played commander card in Lisa Shroud of Dusk and much more. Waste Not, the Magic 2015 copy goes up $3.44 to $19.57. The Commander 2016 copy goes up $4.48 to $24.37. Solid commander card, seeing more play now in Tergrid God of Fright / Tergrid's Lantern builds. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth from Magic 2015. I guess nobody bothered to tell this copy of the card that it is getting reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered. It goes up $5.15 this week to $35.49. This card was hot earlier in the week. Of course, it is cooling off now because of that new copy that is coming. I would expect this to stabilize relatively quickly. But the reason it was hot to begin with is Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy. This is in all three of those formats, and there's a lot of players thinking about those formats for the future. I think those changes to the banned and restricted list that occurred in February got people a little more excited about those formats. And now they are thinking about the future when someday Magic Fest will commence. And I think a lot of players want to have their decks ready to go by that time. You can look at Magic the Gathering Online and see which decks are performing well, and cards from those decks seem to be going up in value. Now, with that being said, that's not the only reason this card is hot. This is a fantastic commander card. It's in a lot of these new Kjell builds too. You'll find this in Tergrid God of Fright, Lathril Blade of the Elves, and more. Mogis God of Slaughter from Born of the Gods is going up $9.30 this week to $25.84. This is a very solid commander, and it's in the 99 of many builds, including the popular Isika God of the Tree / the Prismatic Bridge deck. Gideon Ally of Zendikar, but this is the one from the list. It goes up $23.87 to $35.77. This does see some commander play currently. However, this is one of the cards from the list that was taken out with Kjell that could be part of the reason it's trying to find its new price point. And that brings us to the Modern Legal Spotlight. So let's see what's going on here. First card's going down in value. We have Bad Moon from Revised. It goes down $3.40 to $12. A lot of the Revised cards continue to retract after they saw some recent spikes. This is an example of that. Yet other ones are still spiking. You'll see some of those later in the video. This card in particular does see some commander play though. Pact of Negation from Modern Masters, another card that is getting reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered. This goes down $3.30 to $40, but this does see play in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Birds of Paradise, the copy from Revised, is retracing after recent spikes. It goes down $4.40 to $77.49. Now, there's other copies of this card going up. It's still a very popular card, gets extensive play across many formats, including Modern, Legacy, and Commander. And like I mentioned over previous weeks too, most 93-94 variations allow you to play with revised cards. So many of those players who are priced out of Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited copies could be turning to revised now. And beyond that, this also got a Command Zone mention this week as well. Next, we have another card that is being reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered. It is Gemstone Caverns. It goes down 453 to 59.39. And again, another card that does see play in a lot of places. You'll find this in Modern, Legacy, and Commander decks. Goblin King from Revised. Yet again, another card going down after a spike. It goes down 759 to 13.34. This is in Commander Goblin builds like Krenko Mob Boss. Now let's look at some cards going up in value, beginning with Parallel Lives. This goes up 579 to 49.92. Highly played Commander card, getting more play now due to some Kaldheim cards again. This is in Koma Cosmos Serpent and Lathril Blade of the Elves, as well as others. Grand Arbiter Augustin IV. This goes up 687 to 33.43. Fairly popular Commander, also in the 99 of many other builds there. Grave Pact. This has seen additional Commander play in Turgid God of Fright builds, also got a Command Zone mention this week. Plane Chase goes up 333 to 33.25. Commander up 352 to $30. Stronghold up 710 to 29.55. Elvish Champion. Now this copy of the card's still going up in value. The other copies that we were seeing not too long ago have stabilized. The 7th edition copy goes up 9.92 to 29.98. Now of course this is great in Commander Elf Tribal in general, but the reason all these Elf cards have been spiking is because of a card from Kaldheim. You know it, you love it. Lathril Blade of the Elves. Here's those other copies of Birds of Paradise I mentioned earlier. The 6th edition copy is going up 319 to 1873. The 4th edition copy goes up 560 to 1833. And the 5th edition copy goes up 1015 to 2149. Liliana of the Veil. Now, this is another card that has benefited from the banned and restricted list update in February. In Modern, you'll find this in Jund, Rakdos Midrange, and more. Sees Legacy play too, and it's a bigger Commander card now because of Turgid God of Fright. Ultimate Masters goes up 497 to 69.99, and Estrada up 1125 to 76.60. Wrath of God from Revised. This one is all over the place, up one week, down another week. This week it's up 1209 to 49.49. It did get a Command Zone mention this week, and it is a highly played Commander board sweep. The original Flooded Strand from Onslaught goes up 1862 to 59.98 this week. Of course, fetch lands are going to see extensive play everywhere they're legal. But it might not be a coincidence that this shows up in a lot of decks that appear to be doing better now in the new Modern, Legacy, and even Vintage metas. For example, in Modern, you'll find this in Azorius Control. Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre. Ultimate Masters up 493 to 68.95. Rise of the Eldrazi up 2208 to 98.96 this week. This is a big Commander card in Kozilek, the Great Distortion, and more. Now it is seeing additional play in new builds around some Kaldheim cards, the most common being Asika God of the Tree. Here's Auriok Champion, yet another card benefiting from the recent changes. In Modern, you'll find this in a number of builds, including Heliod Company, Hammer Time, Death and Taxes, Human Spirits, and more. See some Commander play too. Fifth Dawn went up 583 to 51.63. Iconic Masters up 28.29 to $59. And finally, for this section, we again see Blood Moon from the Dark. It goes up 61.55 to 196.94. Is that price for real? Well, if you're looking at recent sales, I'll say kind of. If you're thinking about picking up a high-grade raw copy, you can find them cheaper than this, even in really nice shape. However, if you're trying to pick up a high-grade graded copy, expect to pay more than this, actually. So this kind of falls in between. In Modern, this sees a lot of play, though. Grill Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, Blitz, and more. Also sees Legacy and Commander play. Another card getting additional Commander play now because of Kaldheim cards. This is in builds like Magda Brazen Outlaw, and Bergi God of Storytelling / Harnfell Horn of Bounty. Vintage Spotlight time, and again this week I did have to make a special threshold when it comes to unlimited Arabian Nights Antiquities and Legends cards. They're just spiking wildly. We're only going to look at cards that are moving at least $100 and at least 10% today. Also too, remember in this section, as well as any of the sections of the video I suppose, we're looking at high-grade copies of cards here. Very high-grade copies of old cards fetch a premium, especially if they're graded, and more people are getting those cards graded. We talked about that in a previous video recently. Those graded copies are selling, those are getting mixed in with the data, which is making some of these cards look like they're more valuable than maybe they are if you just want to pick up a raw copy, even a high-grade one. And remember, you don't need to pick up a near mint copy to play with it. If you're a collector, I guess it's one thing. But if you just want to play with the cards, look for these light played copies or even lower grade, because they may serve your purposes and there can be a big price difference. Also, if you're buying cards now, just be careful. There is a lot of market manipulation going on. It's not always malicious. What you're seeing a lot nowadays is sellers can't keep up with all the spikes, so they're putting cards out there at an inflated price, but they're just fishing for an offer. They'll take a fair offer, but that practice can throw off the pricing if you're looking at websites that track values. So with all that in mind, let's see what's happening in this segment. Well, here's Volcanic Island from Revised. These revised duels are still hot. It goes up 587 to 991.79. Maze of Ith, the original from the Dark. This is a great legacy and commander card. It goes up 609 to 47.56. Personal Tutor. This goes up $824 to $100. Being a tutor, this has always found homes in commander builds. Now, though, it is showing up in legacy Doomsday decks, too. Tropical Island from Revised goes up 920 to 998.78. Necropotence. This is a fantastic vintage card. You'll find this in Doomsday and more there. Great commander card, too. This is in those Tergrid God of Fright decks because a lot of the discard effects are reciprocal there. This lets you restock your hand. Eternal Masters goes up 532 to 44.95. Iconic Masters goes up 592 to 45.75. Ice Age goes up 1006 to 84.50. Lion's Eye Diamond sees lots of legacy and vintage play. Also a very good commander card showing up in a new build too. Birgi God of Storytelling. This goes up 11.49 this week to 647.22. Gaia's Cradle from Urza Saga. This price point is being pushed by graded cards, obviously, going up $17.99 to $1,099.99. This does see play in Legacy Elves and more. Also, a very solid commander card in Lathro, Blade of the Elves and other decks there. Even can show up sometimes in Vintage. Plateau from Revised goes up $19.14 to $349.98. Mana Vault, great vintage card, great commander card. It's in a lot of decks there, both old and new. Revised goes up $303 to $66.93. 4th edition up $366 to $61.18. 5th edition up $21.74 to $76. Taiga from Revised up $28.25 to $475.98. Tundra from Revised up $31.29 to $583.98. Alright, now we're moving into the heavy hitters, cards going up over $100 in this section. And the price on the screen is going to reflect something close to what you might see if you looked at one of the pricing websites. What I'm going to do is let you know what that price is, and then if there is a discrepancy between that price and what I'm actually seeing when it comes to card sales. This first one is Rubinia Soul Singer from Legends, up 101.43 to 125, and this price does fall in between what you would pay for a high-grade raw copy and a high-grade graded copy. This does go to show you, though, that a lot of collectors don't care if the card's on the reserve list. They want these old cards in high grade regardless, even if there are a lot of cheaper reprints out there. Here's another example of that with another card from Legends. Zira Arian goes up 104.98 this week to 155, and high-grade copies have sold for around that price point. Power Artifact up 144.21 to 518.22. High-grade graded copies can sell at this price point. I did see a near mint raw copy sell for 440 recently too. Jocelyn Verts, this goes up 151.12 to 213.34. High-grade graded copies tend to sell for about 135 though, so there's a little manipulation here. Raw copies for about 70. Mind Twist from Unlimited, this is going up 171.98 to 324.50, or is it? Graded copies seem to be selling for about 160, raw copies and high grade around 90. Contract from Below from Unlimited, again, not quite what you see here. This is going up in theory to 1166 to 393. High grade copies can sell for about $150. Rock Hydra from Unlimited, again, you do have some manipulation happening here. In theory, going up 245.47 to 299.47. High grade copies that are graded can break $100. Raw high grade copies are about 60. City in a Bottle going up 308.86 to 1,332.67, or is it? Well, high grade graded copies, believe it or not, can reach this price point. Raw copies average between $500 and $620. Mock Sapphire from Unlimited. Now, big money cards like this that don't sell very often, they can move a lot from week to week, both up and down, just based on the condition of the cards that are in the marketplace that given week. This week, the card's going up 434 to 3,567.50. Scrubland, the revised copy up 25.98 to 434.97, but the unlimited copy, check this out, up 445.32 to $1,855.16. Is that for real? This one seems like it's being manipulated pretty strongly. The closest I can find was a raw copy selling for about $1,000 in really high grade. But that was only one sale, so somebody could have overpaid, or it could even be a false sale. Just be careful, keep an eye on this one. Here comes Stang again. This is going up $579.98 to $1,574.97. Of course, this is from Legends. In reality, high-grade graded copies have sold for around $300 this week, which was about $200 higher than last week. High-grade raw copies about $30 to $160. That is a wide range, but still much higher though than it was on average last week. That shows you what this kind of manipulation can do. Another Mox here. This is Mox Pearl from Unlimited, up $670 to $3,330. And finally for this section, we have Mode. It's going up $997.59 in theory to $2,497.58. In reality, high-grade raw copies have sold for around $1,200. There was a graded one that sold for $1,600, but since the raw copies have been going up and the graded copies have been pretty stable, I would expect that price to go up soon for real. Alright, on to the Commander Spotlight. Now, there's still some reserve list card spiking. You're going to see quite a few, especially towards the end of the section, but not as many as we have been seeing. It does feel like maybe things are beginning to balance out between those collectors picking up all these old cards and players that actually want to pick up cards they can play with. So I think that's a good sign for the health of the market in general. And as always, if there's a card that's moving mostly because it's a reserve list card that happens to see a little Commander play, if I don't have anything else to add, I'll just move on to the next card. Iroas God of Victory, the copy from Commander 2016, goes up $3 to $16.31. This is a very good Commander card, seeing more play now in Isika God of the Tree builds. Sol Ring, this is the copy from Revised, of course going up because it is revised more than anything. This is a great vintage card, also of course it's an auto-include in Commander. And this card is still going up $303 to $21.50, even though this is reprinted all the time in various Commander products and such. Trailblazer, this goes up $308 to $438. Resplendent Angel, this is in Lisa Shroud of Dust builds and much more in Commander. It goes up $313 to $25.99. Aeson Highway, this could be a spec based off the recent spike of Hidden Path, which is a similar card. It goes up $315 to $5. Sorceress Queen, here's another revised card going up $316 to $14. The First Sliver goes up $319 to $1818. Now, Sliver Legion and many other slivers are being reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered, which is why people are paying attention to this card again. Sliver Commander decks will always be popular in Commander. This also happens to play very well with Food Chain and Squee the Immortal, for example, and Food Chain at least was reprinted in the list recently. Bosium Strip, this goes up $322 to $1461. This is seeing a little more Commander play because of Furia, Judge of Valor from Keldheim. This was actually added to the list in Keldheim, so keep that in mind, but this is Kindred Discovery from Commander 2017. It goes up $322 to $3546. Great tribal Commander card, seeing more play now in Coma Cosmos Serpent builds. Natural Order from Eternal Masters, you'll find this one in Legacy Elves. Sees additional Commander play now too, thanks to Keldheim cards, including Lathril Blade of the Elves. This goes up $323 to $34.99. Speaking of Lathril, another card that's good in that Commander build, this is Allosaurus Shepherd. This is also good in other Elf Tribal Commander builds. Additionally, you'll find this in Legacy Elves decks too. This goes up $324 this week to $117.30. Temporal Manipulation from Portal Second Age, this goes up $328 to $67.99. Mostly moving because this particular version of the card is drying up a little bit online again this week. It does see a fair amount of Commander play. Lightning Dragon from Urza's Saga, this goes up $329 to $1633. Chaos Harlequin, this goes up $330 to $562. Tainted Ether, the copy from Urza's Saga, goes up $334 to $1314. This is seeing increased Commander play in Tergrid God of Fright builds. No Mercy from Urza's Legacy, this is a solid Commander card in a lot of Queen Marchesa builds and more. Now it can show up in Tergrid God of Fright too. It goes up $338 to $3840. Sworn Defender up $340 to $497. Political Trickery, this is found many times in Commander Zedru the Great-Hearted builds and more. It goes up $340 to $1885. Show and Tell from Urza's Saga, this goes up $348 to $2249. This is in Legacy, Sneak and Show, and Omnitel, and those decks do seem to be doing better in that new meta in the format. This gets Commander play as well, and has shown up in some Isika God of the Tree builds. Ring of Gix, this goes up $349 to $998. Painter Servant from Shadowmoor, it goes up $350 to $5447. This is in Painter's Grindstone builds and Legacy, also does see some Commander play. Sword of Feast and Famine from Mirrodin Besieged, it goes up 350 to 5727. This is a solid Commander card, seeing more play now in builds like Yorn God of Winter and Lathril Blade of the Elves. Also, it appears this is doing better in Modern and Legacy too, again because of those changes to the formats. This is in a lot of decks alongside Stoneforge Mystic. Nissa Revain, this is the copy from the list. It goes up $3.58 to $11.16. This is another one of those cards from the list that was pulled out when Kjell was released. So again, keep that in mind. I think that's the main reason this is jumping up a little bit, trying to find its price point. This has seen increased Commander play though in Lathril Blade of the Elves builds at times. Heuristic Study, the copy from Jumpstart is going up $3.58 to $36.08 this week. Highly played Commander card in many builds, also did get a Command Zone mention this week as well. Mikaeus the Unhallowed from Ultimate Masters goes up $3.58 to $44.31. This is a solid Commander card, and you'll find this in like Carador, Ghost Chieftain builds, and many others, both old and new. Lotus Veil, this goes up $3.64 this week to $58.28. Enlightened Tutor, highly played card in a lot of builds in Commander. The one from the list goes up $3.56 to $44.99. The 6th edition copy goes up $3.70 to $48.89. Soul Devi Golem goes up $3.71 this week to $4.99. Tangle Wire from Nemesis up $3.71 to $19.99. Sees play in a variety of Commander builds, old and new. Jace the Mind Sculptor, World Weight goes up $3.25 to $74.95. Double Masters up $3.80 to $54.02. This is getting more modern play again now that Azorius Control is stronger in the new meta. Also, it seems to be seeing more legacy play as well. Plus, it is a solid Commander card. Getting more play there too because of a Kjell card, Asika God of the Tree. Force of Will, fantastic Legacy, Vintage, and Commander card. This is the one from Eternal Masters going up $3.80 to $105.65. Grand Abolisher from Commander 2014 goes up $3.87 to $26.99. This is another card you'll find in various builds in the Commander format. Intuition from Tempest, this goes up $3.87 to $195. Sometimes you'll find this in Sneak and Show and Omnitel and Legacy. Like I mentioned, those seem to be getting more play now. Also, this can show up in other builds there, and additionally, it's a solid Commander card. Samurai of the Pale Curtain, this goes up $3.88 to $5.50. Commander Ranar the Ever Watchful builds will use this. That is the front-facing Commander from the Kjell Commander deck Phantom Premonition. Samurai of the Pale Curtain combos with Ranar as well as Altar of Dementia, or Ashnod's Altar, or Phyrexian Altar, take your pick. Stoneforge Mystic from Worldwake, this goes up $3.97 to $32.99. Like I've been saying, another card getting more play in Modern and Legacy due to the changes there. Modern, it's in Death and Taxes, Hammer Time, Bant Stoneblade, and more. Legacy, it's in Death and Taxes and more there. Additionally, this is a good Commander card. It sees play with one of those new Kjell cards too, called the Forge Master. Tiny Bones Trinket Thief up $3.97 to $40.40. Very popular Commander, also in the 99 of other builds in the format. One of those builds happens to be Tergrid God of Fright though. Stifle from Scourge, this goes up $4.02 to $24.99. This was in the Legacy Teamer Delver builds, but that did take a hit with the banning of Dreadhorde Arcanist. With that being said, however, this continues to see a lot of play in Legacy and other Delver builds, including a new version of the Teamer one. So at least right now, it feels like this is netting some additional play in the format. Also, this can be found in other builds in that format too, and it does even show up in Commander decks. Vorinclex Voice of Hunger from Iconic Masters. This was added to the list though with Kjell, so remember that. It goes up $4.04 this week to $42.99. This has always been a popular Commander card, but now it is in builds like Asika God of the Tree and Vorinclex Monstrous Raider as well. Wormwood Tree Folk up $4.10 this week to $40. Ruby Medallion from Commander Anthology Volume 2 goes up $4.14 to $37.21. This whole cycle is just great for different Commander builds. This particular one has seen even more play recently due to some Kjell cards, things like Birgi God of Storytelling, Toralf God of Fury / Toralf's Hammer, and Magda Brazen Outlaw. Orim Samite Healer goes up $4.18 this week to $8.61. Doubling Season from Double Masters. This goes up $4.20 to $53.70. Huge Commander card. It's all over the place, including some new builds around Kjell cards. Decks like Coma Cosmos Serpent, Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, Lathril Blade of the Elves. Also, this did get a Command Zone mention this week too. Sensei's Divining Top, the original from Champions of Kamigawa. It goes up $4.20 this week to $54.80. Highly played Commander card. This is in Yuriko the Tiger Shadow decks and a lot more there. Also, it gets a good amount of vintage play. Shapesharer, this is a Lorwyn card. I'm going to use my one per video. I know I used it on the same card last week, but this might be my only opportunity. Remember, there was a recession in the game during this time period of Magic. Less packs were cracked, so especially these rares, if they weren't reprinted, tend to get a little spiky when people pay attention to them. This one's going up $4.35 this week to $13.45. This is a good card for tribal builds that include blue and commander. You do see this in builds like the Ur-Dragon, Morophon the Boundless, Reaper King, but now it is getting additional play because of the Shapeshifter support in Kaldheim. This is in Morid of the Frost, for example. And now Time Spiral Remastered has people thinking about slivers again, too. 1,000 Year Elixir, the copy from Commander 2013. This goes up $4.52 to $24.99. Very good in creature-heavy commander decks like tribal decks again. This is getting more play like many of the cards that we're talking about today because of Kaldheim and builds like Lathril Blade of the Elves, Magda Brazen Outlaw, and more. This is the Mystery Booster copy of Mana Crypt. It goes up $4.55 this week to $114.13. Great vintage card, great commander card. Spellseeker from Battle Bond. It goes up $4.74 to $36. Solid commander card, getting more play now in Orvar, the all-form builds. Mana Short from Revised, another revised card spiking. It goes up $4.82 to $9.78. Sakashima the Imposter from Saviors of Kamigawa. This goes up $4.89 to $25.69. Good commander card, which you can find in new builds again, like Koma, Cosmos, Dragon, and Orvar the All-Form. Demonic Tutor, the copy from Ultimate Masters, up $4.99 to $56.63. Highly played commander card, highly played vintage card. This is getting a reprint, though, in that Strixhaven Mystical Archive. Force of Nature, yet another card from Revised, going up $5 this week to $10. Chrome Mox from Double Masters. It goes up $5.32 to $50.25. Highly played card in various builds across numerous formats, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Jet Medallion, another medallion here, great in mono black or heavy black builds in Commander. Obviously, more people are using this right now because of Turgid, God of Fright. Commander 2014 up $4.25 to $36.99. Tempest goes up $5.43 to $47.99. Yevamaya Hollow, this goes up $5.50 to $153.99. Nice Commander utility land, seeing more play now with some new Kaldheim cards, including Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. Imp's Mischief, this goes up $5.56 to $31.16. So these color pie bending cards always see a good amount of play in Commander. This one is getting more play now because of Kaldheim cards again. Turgid, God of Fright, as you could have guessed. Also Velki, God of Lies / Tybalt, Cosmic Imposter. But the real story here, and the reason it's moving up this much right now, is because it turns out this is not getting reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered. Mana Flare from Revised, another revised card going up. It goes up $5.60 to $22.49. This did see a lot of additional commander play recently in those Yearlock of Scorched Flash builds, though. This is also commonly found in Toralf God of Fury decks. Urza's Incubator, the original one from Urza's Destiny. It goes up $6.03 to $35. Awesome in tribal builds in Commander, especially good if the creatures you have happen to have high casting costs, and or the tribe doesn't have a lot of support in general. Weather Seed Treefolk, this goes up $6.29 to $11.09 this week. Cabal Coffers, the copy from Torment goes up $7.25 to $89.99. Highly played commander card, seeing more play now in Turgid, God of Fright, and some other new builds. Also, though, remember Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, which we saw earlier. That's this card's partner in crime, and it is getting reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered, which could have more people interested in going back and picking this up. Speaking of which, Time Spiral goes up $7.83 to $240. Very solid commander card in builds old and new. Keldoran Outpost, this goes up $8.25 this week to $39.99. We have been noticing that a lot of the reserve list non-basic lands from Alliances have been hot. This one remains hot. Winds of Change, the Portal copy, drying up a little bit online this week, which is why it's jumping like this. It goes up $8.27 to $49.99. This is in a variety of commander decks, new and old too. Yep, we're getting to that point of the video now. Zelion Sword from Fallen Empire is going up $8.37 to $10.58. I don't have anything else to add. Kindred Dominance, this goes up $8.41 to $31.99. Great tribal card, players want this now for their Commander Lathril Blade of the Elves builds. Debt of Loyalty up $8.80 to $38.19. Volrath Stronghold up $8.80 to $167. Again, another very popular commander card in a lot of different decks. Eladamri Lord of the Leaves, this goes up $9.33 to $120. Good in Commander Elf builds, but you guessed it, seeing more play in Lathril Blade of the Elves now. Oath of Ghouls, this goes up $9.51 to $35. The Ur-Dragon from Commander 2017, this can only be found in foil. It goes up $9.88 to $40.98. Very popular commander. Deserted Temple, this goes up 1102 to 3954. This is in a good amount of commander decks and does see play now in Turgid God of Fright builds many times. You might have figured out by now that's been a pretty popular build. Niall Sylvain, this goes up 1155 to 2588. Survival of the Fittest from Exodus up 1289 to 295.63. Very popular commander card in a lot of different decks. Lake of the Dead, here's another one of these reserve list non-basic lands from Alliances. This one's going up 1431 this week to 148. This, however, does see more play in Commander now because of Turgid God of Fright. Probably not surprised to see this one. Sliver Queen, this goes up 1533 to 399.99. This is the Sliver Lord that is on the reserve list. And of course, like I said earlier in the video, Time Spiral Remastered is bringing attention back to Slivers yet again. They're always going to be a popular tribe in Commander. Farage of Urborg up 1540 this week to 29.45. Phyrexian Dreadnought from Mirage up 1650 to 122.50. And again, this does see Commander play in a lot of different decks. Masticore from Urza's Destiny, this goes up 1872 to 41.09. Multani Maro Sorcerer up $20.87 to 31.96. Fairly popular commander, but this is a little manipulated. High-grade copies seem to be going for about $15 to $20. City of Shadows, another card that feels like it's being manipulated a little bit. In theory, going up $35.72 this week to $129.99. High-grade copies are actually selling for about $65 to $80. This has seen more play now, though, in those Ranar the Ever-Watchful builds in Commander. And that's going to take us to the premium spotlight. There's a lot of premium cards moving all over the place. Again, there's a lot of manipulation, too, so you got to be careful. I picked a few cards to show you an example of what's happening out there. The first one is Tainted Ether from 7th edition. Now, these 7th edition foils are all very expensive to begin with. This one goes up $20.92 this week to $118.50, and that price feels legit. Here's another one where the price does feel pretty accurate. This is Urza's Incubator from Urza's Destiny. The foil is going up $30.03 to $280. Now, the next two cards we have yet to talk about in the video, so we'll talk a little bit about them. Subterranean Tremors, the foil from Conspiracy Take the Crown. In theory, going up $44.59 to $119.99. High-grade copies, though, only seem to be hitting about $18 to $23 when it comes to true sales. Now, the card itself is a good commander card. It has seen play in various builds. Now it is seeing more play in Taralf God of Fury decks. Academy Rector, this is the foil copy from Urza's Destiny. It goes up $141.64 to $864.50. And this price does feel like a good average between high-grade graded copies and high-grade raw copies. Expect to pay a lot less for a high-grade raw copy, but sometimes more for a high-grade graded copy. Now, the card itself is very good. It sees play in Legacy Rector Fit, sometimes Allurant, also sees Commander play. Alright, that's going to do it for this week's video, and what you're seeing, I think, is a transition where people are starting to move away from some of these reserve list cards that they've been buying, maybe out of boredom, and at least a percentage of the market is starting to move towards Modern and Legacy again. And I do think that's because there is anticipation that maybe at some point we're going to see Magic Fests again. We don't know when that is, but it's going to happen at some point. And I do think when that does happen, you could see some big card spikes when it comes to cards that you're going to play in various formats. So I guess time will tell. We'll be here to keep watching all of it. But until next time, hey, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.